Alright, peace. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to the channel. Look, before I go any further, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, all that good stuff. Without any further ado, let me go ahead and talk about this. So here we are in 2026, and people still aren't listening to their gut. They're not listening to their intuition. You got a lot of people who still think it's a joke. If you with somebody and you say, I got a feeling about this, I don't know, maybe this isn't the move, maybe this isn't what we should do, you still have people that will laugh at you. They'll think it's foolish. They'll say, oh, you into that kind of stuff. Now, I don't get into all that. But that feeling you have, that gut instinct, that funny feeling you may get, sometimes that's all you will get before the unthinkable happens, before the unfortunate takes place. So now it's not the time for you to be worrying about if people think you're funny, if they think you're weird, if they laugh at you because you're the type of person that say, I don't got a good feeling about this, something don't feel right about this. If you're with somebody and you're in a situation and you say you don't feel right about it, if they don't make the move with you, then you'll go by yourself. And even if it turns out that that wasn't the case and they were fine, that don't mean that next time you don't listen to that. You listen to it every time, no matter what. How many times were you in a situation where something didn't feel right and you didn't listen to it and you ended up regretting it? You have to take heed to these gentle nudges you get sometimes, because sometimes it will seem even far-fetched to you. It can come at a time when it seems like it's the worst time for you to get a feeling that something's not right, when it is something that you've been waiting for, something you've been pushing for. It could be an opportunity that you've been wanting, you've been working really hard for it, and the opportunity finally presents itself. But something don't seem right about the person who's giving you the opportunity, and you can't explain why. And there's people rooting on you, people who could stand to benefit from you accepting this opportunity. And you don't want to mess it up for everybody else. You don't want them to be disappointed with you. Matter of fact, you don't want to look foolish. You got the people who will watch you and they never thought that you had what it takes to achieve what you were trying to achieve. They thought you were a quitter. So you passing up on an opportunity that will solidify and show everybody that you are not a quitter, that you're really about what you say you're about. But something about that opportunity, something about the way it's being presented to you, you see something that you can't prove, but something's telling you not to accept it. It's times like that when you really have to be strong, knowing that you're going to be ridiculed, knowing that people are going to think you're foolish, because you can't explain it to everybody. You can't really put it into words sometimes. You don't know how it's going to play out. You just know that something is not right. And unfortunately, sometimes you will be the only one who see it. You can be with a group and you're the only one who see it. So pay attention to these premonitions you may get. Pay attention to that feeling. Because like I said, sometimes it's the only thing you're going to get. And it can save you. I mean, I've actually heard men say, I don't believe in that intuition stuff. That's for women and things like that. I've actually heard men say that. And I'm saying in this day and time, you have to get past that. If it's women stuff, if it's feminine, whatever, tap into it. When it really comes down to it, everyone has a voice inside of them. Everybody. It may be quiet. It's not loud, but it's there. You have to stay still long enough. You have to put aside whatever your own personal agendas are sometimes. And you have to be able to see past it. That's what it is. I'm talking about everybody. Even if you're not accustomed to reading the signs, you have a voice inside of you that's trying to communicate with you. A lot of times we're either too stubborn, like I said, you're too focused on your own thing to pay attention to it. And even if you don't want to call it intuition, you can call it your gut feeling, right? You hear people talk about they had a gut feeling. But it's something real subtle, and it lets you know when something's off. So a lot of times you don't want to be ridiculed. You don't want to be the odd one out, right? So you stay quiet and go along. But the question is, what's the price? What price do you pay for not listening to it? Because you may not pay all at once. Sometimes it comes slowly, over time. You pay when you stay on that job that you need to be done with, right? The one you know you should have left a long time ago. Until eventually you get to a point where something happens, you're like, I knew I should have left. I shouldn't even be at this job. I should have left a long time ago, right? But you stay there because the job looks good on paper. You also pay when you're in that relationship you know you shouldn't be in. That relationship that you should have been done with a long time ago. Then something happens. Something goes to the point where it's like this relationship should have been over a long time ago. You heard stories about this. You know people like that. Maybe it happened to you. And some people, even though they've been through a relationship where they didn't listen to their gut, they'll get into another situation and something don't feel right and they ignore it once again. You pay when you're feeling lonely. You feel like you need somebody you can depend on. And you give your trust to the wrong person. And you feel like something's off about that person. But they're the only person in your corner, right? Nobody else is there for you, but this person is there for you. So you trust them, even though something don't feel right. But you put it on yourself. You say, no, it's not them, it's me. If I don't have this person, then who am I? I'm not gonna have nobody, right? And then you pay. You pay when you say yes, when you know inside you're saying no. And at first it don't feel like no big deal, right? You just brush it off. You keep drowning it out. You do whatever it is to block it out. Anytime that thought, anytime you get that feeling, you do something to make it go away. You distract yourself. So you get really accustomed to distractions. But over time, it begins to pick at you. It begins to speak a little louder. Certain things come up. Those flags start waving. Those red flags, they're waving like it's a parade or something. You start seeing all those red flags. And you try to turn the station like it's a television show you don't want to watch. Don't want to see that. The flags popping up on every station. You see the flags and you continue to ignore them. By that time, you can't even ignore them anymore. But you don't want to do the right thing because you don't want to feel stupid. You feel like you invested too much time, right? So it's a lot of times at the job, it becomes obvious that's not the job for you, but you stay there because you worry about what everybody else is going to think. I'm not going to have a job. I'm going to look stupid and nothing's lined up. At least I have something, right? So you're thinking about how bad it's going to be not having the job and not thinking about how detrimental the job you have is to your mental state, to your health, your well-being, sometimes your safety. Some people be in some real toxic work environments. You continue with that relationship even though flags are all over the place. This person's not right for you. They're not good for you mentally, and a lot of times physically. You may even have people warning you about that relationship, but you stay in it because you're worried about, well, I'm not going to have anybody, right? What if there's nobody else out there for me? Or it may have been somebody who's been telling you about that relationship for the longest time. And if you leave, you don't want that person to be right. You don't want that person to know that they were right. So you stay in there just hoping. If you just stick it out a little bit longer, things will change, things will turn around. But in your heart, in your gut, you know that's not going to happen. And then you pay. You pay when you trust somebody. You've been asking for, God to come through, send you somebody that's going to help take you to the next level with whatever you're trying to do, with this next investment or whatever it may be. And somebody come along who promises you just that. And you start to see all types of flags. Don't seem right. The person not professional. They show up late. Their information is not lining up. They're contradicting what they're saying. One minute they're giving you some advice in one area, and then you see them contradicting that advice with something else they may be doing. The flags are all over the place. But you'd rather believe that, no, this gotta work. You'd rather believe that this was sent to me. I prayed for this and this is what God sent me. And then you pay. This whole having a gut feeling, having a feeling about something don't have to be some spooky thing. That's a perception. If you see it that way, you got to look past that. It's getting serious out here. People becoming more desperate. People are changing. Everybody's looking for some sort of a come up. The revolving doors of relationships. People coming into it with a lack of compassion already. That's why I speak about the importance of paying attention to it. But it's like, okay, well, how do you do that? Well, first, you can slow down before you make your decisions. If you're going to listen to intuition, you got to listen to the rhythms within yourself. Slow down your breathing. Sit still. If you find yourself feeling rushed about making a decision, you probably shouldn't make that decision. Second, pay attention to your body, not just your thoughts. Do your chest feel tight? How about your stomach? Is your stomach feeling contracted? Are you breathing easy? Most of the time, your body is going to react before your brain does. So you want to pay attention to what's happening within your own body. Number 3, ask better questions. Instead of asking yourself, does this make sense? Ask, does this feel right? Because you can make sense out of a whole lot of things. But that feeling, even while you're trying to make sense out of it, that feeling will still be there. And all you have to do is avoid the temptation to override the feeling with whatever logical reasoning you came up with. 4, keep a small promise to yourself. Every time you honor your own boundaries, you're sending a positive message to yourself. And when you find yourself about to head down that path of ignoring that gut feeling, those boundaries can pull you back and give you just enough time to kind of clear up and kind of see what's really taking place. And 5, they say experience is the best teacher, right? Think on some past events. Think on other times when you felt like you should have listened to that feeling and you ignored it. Times when you felt like something wasn't right and it turned out to be the case. I'm not saying it's going to be that way all the time, but sometimes that'll be just the motivation you need to kind of slow yourself down to really think things through, feel things through, and see to it that you stay out of some mess that you don't need to be in. And with that, that's going to do it for this one. Please make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'm going to catch you all in the next one. All right? Y'all be well. Peace.